From negative net worth to zero net worth to where I am today, I've learned a thing or two along the way. Lessons like maybe I shouldn't invest in Blockbuster because it's a penny stock and I'm trying to make a ton of money while I'm in high school, but realistically the company's falling apart and it's competing with Netflix. Netflix is destroying them. Stuff like that. In this video, I want to talk about some of those lessons and four specifically that I feel like would be helpful for people that are just starting. This video is more about mindset and building wealth over time in a systematic or mechanical way. The first lesson is you have to know where you're going, right? Set up a financial goal of what is your money goals for the long term. Because if you don't know the end result or where you want to get to, how are you supposed to build a plan or a manageable plan with a list of steps to get to that goal without knowing the goal itself? So the first thing that's really important is understand how much money are you looking for and in what time frame. Do you need $1 million? Do you need 10 million? Those are really important questions to understand what you have to do in order to get there. If you're asking how am I supposed to know that? Well, you could use something like a retirement calculator from nerdwallet.com where you put in your age, how much money you're making, the current savings that you have, along with what kind of lifestyle do you want when you retire. You put in all these inputs along with how much you think you're going to get on your return for investments, and it shoots out a number at you of how much you'll need in order to retire with these inputs. Once you have that number and know how much you need to save on a monthly basis, it's much more approachable when it comes to, okay, what do I need to do to build wealth over the next 40 years, right? Because you already know the number in your head, what you need to build towards, which leads us to lesson number 2, which is budgeting is an extremely important tool to investing and generating wealth. This is where you go back to the retirement calculator and figure out how much money, so in this case $600 a month, you'd need to save in order to have about $3.5 million at retirement. So you already know I'm a huge finance nerd, so I love budgeting. I actually just enjoy doing it, and it's one way that I track all the money to see where it's coming in and where it's going. So you can use something like mint.com, which automatically brings in transactions. If you use credit cards or debit cards, right? It sets it up for you where you can track where your money is going on a monthly basis. That way you can set up, okay, I need to save $600 each month and invest. Well, now you have a way to track that over time to keep yourself accountable. While I know budgeting isn't necessarily the sexiest thing, it does help you a ton with managing your money and making sure that you actually have money left over each month to invest without getting emotionally attached to investment money. Because if you have a set aside amount, if the market crashes, if something happens like that, instead of fearing, oh, I need that money to live, you have this investment money to actually buy the dip or buy when everyone's afraid, and you're just emotionally not attached to that money, right? You just believe in the market thesis that over time my money will grow. So as long as you're investing in something like a diversified ETF like SPY, VOO, something like that, and you just keep on investing month after month, very routine. And if you're looking for a general guideline of how the budget's supposed to be set up, one standard rule that a lot of people use is the 50-30-20 rule, which is essentially 50% of your income is going towards needs. So in order to live, 30% is going towards kind of extra things so you can enjoy your life, right? Not save 90% and live down by the river, because no one wants to do that. And then 20% is what you would save in order to invest or pay down bad debt. Now, this is the part of the video where people may be rubbed the wrong way because, me just talking to the camera and saying, oh, just invest so much left over each month. People may not have anything left over after each month. Unfortunately, that's the way things go. You need to get your income to a certain level where you can actually have a savings percentage to invest. Right? It's just unfortunate, but if your income is only $5,000 a year, you're not able to save anything, or $10,000, whatever it is. If you're just meeting your living standards, you just won't have anything left. What I do believe though is mindset and the optimism of, okay, I'm gonna change where I'm at right now to either get a better job or learn new skills to increase my income. And then the other side of it is if you are making a decent amount of income, you have to make some cuts to your budget in order to gotta be able to save and invest, because if you make $1 million a year, but you spend $2 million a year, you're screwed. I think what helps is just getting started with budgeting. It may be scary at first, but then once you start tracking it and realizing, hey, maybe I shouldn't be spending so much going out to eat food, if that's not part of your like 30% that you're okay with spending, that's where somewhere you could maybe cut back and find money to invest. Talking about getting started is the third lesson, which is just starting investing today instead of continuing to wait. I personally really love this Chinese proverb: the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Like I said, I'm a financial nerd, so for me, trying to beat the market with my own portfolio is just me trying to beat the game, right? It's a giant strategy game for me to try to beat the market. Now, there's also people that really want to be passive with their investing, and using something like a index ETF can get you 8% a year, right, historically. Going into something like an ETF is a good way to get started, and then analyzing individual companies can come later, right, when you're more comfortable with actually digging into the details of companies and understanding what you're looking at. Because if we look at something like the S&P 500 or an ETF that tracks it, over time, the market tends to go up and to the right. So whether or not there is a 10% crash in the short term, just getting started with investing or just dipping your toes and getting used to taking some risk really just helps the ball get rolling. Which brings me to the last lesson I want to talk about this video, which is make mistakes, but learn from them and then move on. For some people, they're afraid to make mistakes, so they don't want to get started with something. It's the same thing for investing and generating wealth over time. They're afraid to make mistakes by losing money, so they just never start. For me personally, my mistakes have been the greatest teachers. For example, that Blockbuster story in high school, investing in penny stocks, or I invested in a biotech company that completely went bust. Chasing FOMO trades, so getting sucked into, oh, I want to make money really quick, I'm seeing all these other people do it, and then getting into late and losing money that way. These are mistakes, but if you learn from them, it's great, because the earlier you do that and the less capital that you're playing with in terms of investments, you can avoid huge losses in terms of monetary terms later on in life. I know this video is a little different than what I've made recently, where I talk about more investing, more technical aspects of option trading or crypto markets, all that stuff. The most important thing for me is the mindset of generating wealth over time. And these building blocks of personal finance are extremely important to be able to take risk in the markets of crypto, in the markets of long-term investing, or even option trading, right? So by building this budgeting, saving mentality, you can take risks without losing sleep at night. That's just me personally, right? Every person has their own idea of risk tolerance, time frame, all that stuff. That's why it's called personal finance. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Appreciate you guys watching. If you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Main Street Wolf, where we talk personal finance, investing, crypto, anything to do with money. Thanks guys for watching, and have a great day.